Sorry, I'm still preparing something here in the background. Hello, everybody. I'm glad that you joined me for another live chat. And today I have the lovely Jane Matthews here, the founder of the World Spiritual Association. Is this right, Jane?
It is, yes. Myself and my partner, Tony.
I'm very pleased to have you here. I never met you before, and I have, of course, seen you a lot in the social media. You're very active together with Tony, who's here right now. Hello, Tony. Nice to read you. And yeah, I was very curious about the book you just wrote, and which is going to be published in Europe in a few days, I think. Is this right? Or is it already on the market?
It's on the market in the USA and in Europe and the rest of the world. It will be on the 28th of July.
Okay, 28th of July. And for all the Germans watching today, the book we're going to talk about will probably be available via Amazon here. It's published by Red Feather, and they don't have a dependence in Germany. So I'm quite sure you will be very interested in the book. But before we're going to talk about this, perhaps, Jane, you would tell us a bit about yourself and how you came to do what you're doing.
Thank you. Well, I teach tarot and runes, the OM and mediumship, as well as natural magic and some other things within the World Divination Association. I've always been strongly pulled towards energy work. I am a Reiki master and practiced that for a while and taught that also. I was seeing the sigils everywhere, these sigils. I was seeing them in the walls. I was seeing them wherever I looked, and I started drawing them. So I had a collection of sigils, and I'd actually spoken and said to Tony, you know, I've got all these sigils. I'm drawing these things all of the time, and I channeled what they all meant and what they meant to me. But I was actually, you know, people were coming, commissioning me to create these sigils to manifest change for them. And so I had taught some workshops on sigils and how to create your own as well. And I was lucky enough that I had a deck, and I wrote a book to coincide with it, and Red Feather wanted to take it on and run with it.
So everybody who wants to know more about Jane's biography, I put your homepage into the show notes. And of course, you can always join the World Spiritual Association. I think you're mainly on Facebook with this. Is this right?
It is, yes. Jen Sank is actually the director of the World Spiritual Association. I dip it in and out and comment and post on there, but I do the majority of my work within the World Divination Association.
Okay. Yeah, you're kind of a joint venture, aren't you?
We do a lot of things we incorporate.
And before we discuss your book, first, we were talking before we went live. You mentioned the Yoan. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Can you tell us a few words about this? Because actually, I never heard about it.
So OM is Irish divination. Well, it's used for divination in Ireland, but fundamentally it is an actual language, and it's part of the Celtic language, the earliest of Celtic languages in that sense. And it was also a tallying system. So it was very, very comprehensive in its uses and the ways in which it could be applied. And I look at the runes as being a universe of, you know, the universe is in that bag of all that information, and we all have that. But the actual OM for me is a talisman of the universe. So it doesn't just actually, you know, tell you, it explains in a much different way. It's it's an amazing tool to actually divine with.
Can you show again some of these pieces of wood, I would call them? I hope I'm not
there's 20
nasty.
fuse.
Because they look lovely.
There's 20 fuse, so there's 20. These are carved on individual pieces of wood, and traditionally each piece of wood is from a different tree. And many places you get them are still like that. However, you can still have them all on the same make as such, a type of tree. But these are all fuse, and there's 20 fuse, and there's 5 groups of 20, and the groups of 5 are called feather, and they all have different lines upon them, in which all have different meanings, and you get different understandings of what's occurring.
Well, I think we need to. I need to invite you for another session to talk about this, because I find this really interesting. So you do runes, of course you do also cards, but runes, these owens and the sigils, they are something else than card readings, I think, because you are immediately you have a kind of thing in your hand, right? Though the sigils we're talking about, you developed cards from them, right?
Yes, so I put them into a card format just so that they were really easy to be able to use for others, because obviously I know my sigils, so I don't need to have anything. I just draw. And but when others were wanting, we created a deck, and it allowed a greater use of ease with them, and a way to actually look and understand as well, because the word sigil in Latin comes from Latin, the sigillum, and that is sacred seal. Translated into sacred seals. Now you think of bind runes that's been created with using the Yelder to manifest and actually create that magic. And that's literally what it is. It's another form of magic in its essence, in which it embodies energies and draws them together and actually uses that to bring forth a change. So it actually changes the energy. So it's a tool to manifest, but it's one in which you're empowered to create those changes for yourself and to understand yourself as well, in ways in which you might not necessarily have thought, because sometimes what you want isn't always what you need. And manifesting is something that I'm I could say very good at, but also I have a lot of reverence for in its uses. So again, what you want is different from a need, and what you need is often what you get. You have to, if you're wanting something, you need to be able to take those steps towards achieving it. And that's one of the biggest things when it comes to actually manifesting, is take the opportunities when things are presenting themselves to you. Otherwise, your manifestation is actually not progressing, because you're actively not working with the energies of which it's trying to bring things towards you that way.
Yeah, I can see this. So I loaded up the book. We can have a look in it in a few moments. You already explained sigils as well. You said that it's a very old tradition to use sigils, right? You also said that. Yeah.
They've been used, in different cultures, in different ways, and for different things. They've been used for thousands of years. It's just these ones are ones that I've channeled and were gifted to give to others as well.
That was my next question. So when did you start seeing these sigils everywhere?
Well, I was seeing them like quite a few years ago, and I was showing my mum and dad some of them that I was drawing. I was showing some of my friends, of which I was drawing. It was quite because I was just letting myself flow, and obviously picking up patterns because of my mediumship background as well, because I do practice mediumship quite often, frequently. I do see shall we say, a lot more with around. So things are highlighted to me, and these were things that were highlighted to me. And when I understood the actual, enormity of what they were within themselves and what they could do, and what they could do to help other people, what they could do to help me, at that point, then it's about, anybody that's wanting to is able to now. And I think one of the biggest things within life is that you need hope, and you should feel empowered that, even when things seem out of control, you can still take those steps to betterment and improvement. It will always come. And I think because of that, it was really important to give that to others in that sense.
So you first saw these, well, I would call them drawings now when we look at them, or the signs on the wall, and afterwards you understood what they meant by channeling their meaning.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would ask for each one of them to show me what that meant, to show me what it could do, to show me what its purposes were. And also, as well, I wasn't shy in actually using other cartomantic systems as well to verify what it was that I was channeling. Because, of course, although you have that trust, I still had that fear within myself of putting that out there, and me out there with those. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just kidding myself on. And obviously when I was actually doing them on other people, way before I actually wrote a book or anything with regards to that, the results were actually phenomenal, and the speed in which change was occurring for people was there was no denying just the ways in which they actually worked as a tool.
So do you think there is some entity behind them, or is it just manifesting for some reason?
It's just manifesting. It's just manifesting in a really simplistic form as such. And I don't mean to belittle the actual deck or anything with regards to that, because that magic is simplistic, but people overcomplicate it. And that's what, in that sense, with using the sigils and being able to then, it's an energy. So if you think of each card as an energy, like the decisions card. Now, we all have times in our life where...
Can you bring it a bit closer to the screen? Sorry. Yeah, okay, now, sorry, yes, okay.
So we all have times in our life where we struggle to make the right decision. We wonder if we're on the right track, and even we want to get back onto that right track, but not really sure how. So this is harnessing that energy of getting back on track. So you think about the energies in which you bring in, and you're harnessing actual multitudes of energies for the purpose of what you're wanting. And in that sense, then you're actually actively taking that and molding that into what it is you're wanting to send forth energetically in that sense. So you need help getting on the right track. You've got a sigil in order to aid you with that. But also help you to understand what things that you might actually struggle with as well. It's very diverse in the ways in which it can actually be utilized. It's not any kind of spirit or entity that's actually, influencing that deck. It's actually just the energy of what that essence of that sigil is doing.
So when we buy the book, we get the cards with them.
Yes. So
right?
when you buy it, you get it in the box, and with quite a comprehensible book, which doesn't just explain all of the meanings, but also
I have actually, look, we can have a look at the book. I've got it here. So that we can just see a few more of the cards. I think you can see them better when we scroll through them. Here, for example, here we have kind of mainly all the sigils. How many are there?
There's 22.
22, like the tarot card. Do they relate to the major arcana?
No, not in any way, unless there is somewhere that I not as far as I'm aware.
You still need to figure it out then. Okay, so actually, when I look at this, I think we don't really need the cards. It might be even good to draw them yourself, right? Because it gives them more power into the materialization process.
Well, that's what I actually recommend, is actually to pull the sigils in which you need. Now, you can either do that by shuffling and asking what you need, with like the same way in which you would with tarot or Lenormand, for example, or you could actually just run your hands across, draw out ones in which you're drawn to, or you could visually look, turn them all and be drawn to physical ones. At that point, you draw that sigil, you incorporate all those things. If you're doing one with 2 sigils, for example, or 3, you're actually drawing them together and you're harnessing and fusing all of those energies into one, and all that intention of what it is in which you're wanting to create, what change you're requiring, is actually getting, honed into the essence of that, and it's bringing it forth. So you've got your intention and you've got the energies in which it's going to bring that intention to fruition for you.
So can I also, I don't know whether you said this right now and I didn't get it, but can you also draw 2 of them together or 3?
Yes, you can draw 2.
So this would be like binding runes then.
Yeah, so you can harness the energy of one sigil, so you can focus on that. Say, for example, on if you were meditating, you were needing to actually draw its essence in, or you wanted to draw it on your body, for example, or you wanted to draw it on a piece of paper and carry it, say, in your purse or on yourself, or where you would place it where you work, for example, in that sense too. Or if you want to work with more than one of the energies, then they do need to actually be drawn together, because in that sense, it's actually, that is what's fusing those 2 energies into that one overall collective energy that way.
Okay. I have here another picture from your book where you can kind of see how the cards are, and there are different colors. Why is that?
Yes. It's just what it works easier. Well, I say easier, it makes it more fluid when you're trying to actually get started using them, so that you'll see that they're for specific things. So, for example, the gold coloured cards are all things to do with divinity. So all that's to do with, your higher self and bringing success and things like that. You've got the darker purple is actually things that, like barriers. For example, if you've got blockages or you're needing to have a barrier put in place, for example, if you want to protect yourself or you want to protect your home, so these are all things for like shadow work to be highlighted. You've got the kind of teal colored cards, and they are some of them are also like connector cards, in which they'll fuse the 2 energies and enhance that fusion of them. And the highlight cards, for example, as well, will also highlight where you're needing to be paying attention to. For example, if you're in work and you're really struggling to actually, something's just not clicking when it comes to doing a report on time or filling something out correctly, that highlight sigil will actually show you where it is that you might be actually going wrong in some sense, in order for you to amend it and get back quickly. And then the top ones, which is like the burgundy colour cards, those are all physical ones, so they'll give expansion, they'll draw in, they'll allow more of a flow through you, they'll actually shift a circumstance or change a perspective, it'll bring a long-term change. So they all bring specific qualities of energies within them, so they've been color coded as such to help with that.
So perhaps you can make an experiment. Intuitively, I'm very much drawn to this, the 3rd card in the top row.
So that's the...
Sorry. My question is, would I start like this with your cards? And yeah, what would it tell me, basically?
Well, right away, you've been drawn to the emit card, and the emit card is all about expansion, and it's about actually bringing that expansion. So if with regards to work or even finances, it's bringing that expansion to those areas in which you're looking to have it. So even if, for example, you speak about wanting to look more into OM, then the emit sigil will actually allow you to expand upon your knowledge base in what, or anything within your life in which you want that to occur.
Yeah, expansion is my thing, definitely, in many ways. Yeah, okay, that's it. So this is one way we could use the cards, just see what's important for me right now and look at them. But I
Yes.
guess mainly you would want to, you have a problem, and then you would look into the sigils. Which sigil can I use in order to manifest something, right? Or what do you recommend?
Yeah. So if it's like physical manifestation of something, you're using them for that. If it's something like, you know, I've got a job interview and I'd really like to be able to do that. Or even if you're like finding, you know, at times we all go through different stresses in life, and now, you know, we're individuals in that sense. And sometimes personalities and things that can clash. So it's, you know, how do I bring kind of, how am I less reactive, for example, around others that I find annoying? You know, you could do a sigil for that. So you can improve yourself, shall we say, or seek, as long as you're seeking to improve. It's, you know, it's endless, the kind of the ways in which you can actually seek and gain information about yourself. It'll give you very personal answers that way.
Yeah, it's very. It's. I mean, I really like the feel. I haven't touched the cards, but I like the way they come with colors. If you look into the book, we have many Americans here. Obviously, good morning, everybody. It's evening here in Germany. You can buy the book already, I've heard. So if you just look at one of these cards. It's very nicely done. Did you draw them yourself, or did you have help there?
So originally I drew them in my little back of this leather bound book that I was writing everything in. So I had them all drawn in that. And Tony actually put them into card format. So I am not that way technologically inclined to be able to do anything like that. It's just, so Tony designed them beautifully. And what happened was she done fronts and backs, and we had them as a selling them independently on Amazon, hence the book that you could also get separately. And Red Feather took those and put them. So really, Tony came up with drawing them onto a card, and Jack, who was the designer at Red Feather, he just was so excited with the possibilities of how we could introduce different effects around the cards and things, that I was really honored that somebody wanted to put that much effort into it, and it's really shown because it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, they look really lovely. They have this, even on paper, they have this three-dimensionality. I think it's very, yeah, coming in your face. The sign itself and the background is really nicely done. I like it a lot. And Sue and Anne have their copy already. Perhaps Sue and Anne, you can write a bit in the commentary how the feel of the cards is, because I can't touch them, but I really like the way they are done. And in the book, obviously, you have always a whole page which gives you some explanation for the cards, which is good as well. So yeah, it's quite a lovely workbook. Yeah, that's the card I really like. I like the others as well, but this is a very very nice.
And also within the book, it'll actually tell you as well where to place specific sigils, or how to create your own, how to actually draw these sigils all together in many different ways, from 1 card to 3 cards to 5 cards. There is instructions you're taking step by step all the way through, so you can gain that confidence if you don't have it, and in being able to do that.
And do you have the feeling this work is now complete, or do you think there can other sigils show up?
Well, I never ever think anything's ever finished. I think at that point, you're at the point of death, really. It's like learning, you can never learn enough. So there's always going to be something surprising by the universe, and hopefully I might be treated to some more, shall we say.
Would you combine the sigils with runes as well?
Yeah.
Or is it separate?
No, definitely. I mean, like I say, the runes, I love runes. I absolutely love the runes, and they are all individual energies as well in, you know, in how you read them, in how you use them. And when you're looking at that, it's just harnessing to, you know, you look at the strength in which the runes have. They, you know, they command that respect from you. They tell you the answers. And when you're actually, you know, creating a bind rune in that sense, you're actually directing that energy. So you're harnessing that. So in doing that and bringing another system, so to speak, and that energy's in, it's something that I think, yeah, it's only going to increase in ways, you know, in which they can all be used.
You said you only moved a few years ago to Northern Ireland. Before you lived in Northern England, right?
I did, yes. I lived in the Lake District in Northern England, so it's
lovely.
on the borders almost of Scotland.
I'm just asking because I was wondering how you came into touch, especially with runes and oghs and, well, these kind of Celtic traditions. Are they there as well? Quite a lot used?
Oh, I would say that there's a heavy Celtic ancestry, you know, from my great grandparents backwards, all came, all being in Ireland in that sense, Irish. Originally, like 1690, they moved over. The runes, again, growing up and living in Cumbria, there's a heavy Germanic Viking influence in Cumbria. In fact, there was a Viking sword dug up in somebody's back garden in my hometown several years ago. So I think there was just a real draw to them. The Ogham I came to slightly later than what I did the runes, but the runes were a real pull. And anybody who does any kind of divination will know what you're just instantly like. I have to know these. Hello, it's nice to meet you, and it felt like home when I was reading with them.
Interesting. I really like this. Is this my mobile? No, this is not my mobile. There must be
It's not
something
my
else.
mobile. I do apologize. I think it's Tony's.
Well, whatever it is, it's sending us signs. So Sue is very impressed with the work and is happy about it. And yeah, I think I might get them as well because I really like the way they work with me when I look at them. Are there any questions out there? Does anybody want to know something from Jane while she's here? Ah, that's Tony. That was a sign sending. I like this. So ghosts are everywhere in the net. No, but Tony is, of course.
Our house
Tony is
strange.
Sorry?
There's so much activity in our house that you wouldn't like. Things click on and off, and if it's just, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it was something like that. But I'm glad Tony's told me it's.
So you're sitting there on edge. What is this? What is this? I like it. But it's good that Tony makes herself known since she drew the cards. Sorry, Tony, I didn't know this. So I really like your work. Well done. And I should have you both here, actually, but now I've talked to Jane, and this is very nice as well. So there's another review of your cards from Anne. she did also make her first bind, and yeah, that you're straightforward and stay on point. So yeah, I think the way I met you for the first time, you appear, you're really straightforward and down to earth. I like this. And I have a very good feeling about this book. I just hope it's going to sell loads. You deserve it. It's really lovely done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And yeah, I'm quite curious how this will work out. Do you want to say anything else about the book? Is there something, or the cards? Is there something important I didn't ask you?
I just think that, well, I would just like everyone to know that it's really came from my heart, and I hope that, like anything that comes to you in life, if your heart is open to it, you'll always experience the actual gift in what that is. And I hope that every single person who desires to manifest any kind of change for the betterment of themselves with that deck, I wish you all the best of luck with that.
That's very sweet. I like this a lot. Yeah, I hope I can take this spirit with me, because I find the world at present a bit demanding. So yeah, that's a good way to think about everything. I definitely need to talk to you about these lovely owns. I'm still not pronouncing them correctly, I'm sure. But this has to wait until September or later during the year. You just came back from your holidays anyway, didn't you? You were
Yes,
just
literally, we've literally been home about 24 hours, and we've got try to get right back on track with work. I've got a conference coming up next weekend, and courses as well. So it's a very busy time.
So everybody who wants to join the conference or to join the courses, just go to the show notes. I linked everything at there. Go and get in touch with Jane. I also linked to the book. So I think everything is there, and you're going to have a very successful start into your working time again. Sorry about that.
And thank you so much for inviting me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It was my pleasure. Thank you for coming so soon after your holidays. But actually, I'm going on holidays now, so it's kind of in between holidays. But I'm going to catch up with you after the holidays, and nobody has any more questions apart from the fact Sue thinks that you are a gift to us all, and I think we can finish on that note.
Thank you so much.
So everybody out there, have a great time. Next lives are going to be sometime in next week I'm going to do another live, but this is going to be in German. Stay tuned, and thanks for everybody who has been watching. So take good care, and bye, Jane.
Bye.